Welcome back. I'm Tedward, and today, thanks to Bond Group in Waltham, Massachusetts, we're driving the 1968 Mercury Cougar. This one has a 428 under the hood with a 4-speed manual gearbox, power in the rear wheels. And man, I have not thought about a Mercury Cougar in a long time. When this rolled into the shop, I could not wait to take it out for a ride, and she is cherry. It's been rotisserie roasted and restored. I mean, look at this thing. It is immaculate inside and out. And the Mercury Cougar is especially cool because we all see Mustangs frequently, but the Cougar slotted in between the more luxurious Thunderbird and the more ubiquitous pony car of the Mustang. It's 3 inches longer in wheelbase than the Mustang, and you can actually see it when you're standing here looking at it. Under the hood is the big boy 428 GTE option, which replaced the 427 in the GTE only a year before. There was a bunch of different engine options. You could get this all the way down from the 289 up to this 428 with the Cobra jet. And I'm sure there will be plenty of commenters to tell me everything correct or incorrect about this car, because it was not originally born with the 428. This was kind of developed into the big boy Cougar. And boy, as far as restorations go, this is as good as they get. So I'm really excited to take you out in the big cat today. One of my favorite design features of the Cougar are these roll-away headlights. I'll get some B-roll of that as they go up. It's very difficult to capture by myself. And let me just show you under the hood. One of the nice things about this, and I don't want you to go and do this to anyone's car out in the field, but you don't need to be inside the car to open the hood. There she is, the blue block with this big 428. It just fits. It's fantastic. And like I said, everything under here is immaculate and pristine. And you can tell this owner took painstaking efforts to be authentic, because even this battery is a Ford Motorcraft battery. Over here, the only thing that I see that he's really done completely differently is added these struts instead of the garage door springs with this clever linkage. So I actually think that's wonderful. It looks fantastic, and it aligns great, and it keeps the hood open without the creaks. So when you open it at the car show, you're not greeted with any of that. Around back, oh man, and look at the gray underneath. It's got this sort of low two-tone thing going on. Absolutely fantastic. Around back, you've got the louvers on the brake lights, which, you know, I don't know how much that helps with safety when you're standing over here or driving from this angle, but it's about style, not safety. This looks fantastic. Quad-tipped exhaust, although it's just a dual exhaust that breaks off into those 2 tips at the end. And then down here, look how shaved this bumper is, before the days of those nightmare ugly impact bumpers. And in here, we'll open this in a minute, but this is your key slot to get into the trunk. I love these wheels. Everything on this car just looks so authentic and correct for the time period. No B-pillars, and one of the nice things is that you can simply roll these up and down. Wonderful roll-up windows. We like that. And look at the frame around the top here. That looks so cool. These are the little things. These are the things I miss about car design today. I mean, last week we were just greeted with the unveiling of the Ferrari Luce, and it feels like the beginning of the end of good car design. I didn't think that we'd be looking at a renowned brand like Ferrari hiring an Apple iPhone or iMac designer to give us the next generation of supercars or whatever, but so be it. It's just making these look better and better. The muscle car, the pony car thing, man, did this hit a high watermark in the early 2000s. You'd look at those Mecum auctions, and these things were going for tons and tons and tons of money, and obviously a lot of money was put into this restoration. It's really cool now for a buyer to be able to get into one of these for less than 6 figures, even though the car probably warrants it. But you know what? They made a lot of them. You just have to be willing to put the money into it. So let me show you this trunk real quick. You got 2 keys, one for the ignition, one for the locks. Pop that up. There you go. Got to make sure you don't scratch the car while you do this, but vast trunk space, very simple. You do not want to lock your keys back here because you'll not be getting into them. You can see the gas filler going in behind the license plate. pretty normal for the time. Not my favorite design for both filling and for safety, but you know what? That's not what we were thinking about in 1968. The Cougar was introduced, this first generation, in 1967, so this was 1 year after, and look at that. How cool is this whole system? Oh my God, I'm so in love. Even this little guy's all properly lubricated. So anyway, let's get out and drive this thing because I want to give you some nostalgic sounds and show you what it's like. Like I said, this one is a 4-speed, so it's got this cool Hurst shifter. It's got a T-grip lockout for reverse, which is lovely. And these were available in 3-speed manuals and 3-speed autos at the same time, depending on the trim level. So with the XR-7, that was the top trim level of the Cougar, you'd get right up to Thunderbird money. So this one was the big dog. It's got plenty of sound, plenty of juice in that exhaust note, but it's not egregious, it's not over the top, because remember, this is a little more of a luxury version. The seat belts in here are a little wild because the lap belt comes up from over here, but it only extends up to here. So you've actually got to extend the buckle part, the receiver, and then tighten from there. So that actually took me a second. I was like, man, this thing isn't coming up. And then I realized, oh, it's designed in an opposite way. And I love these door handles. They fold away, they tuck away. This is incredible design. This is stuff that you just don't see anymore. First gear, a little tall, so requires a touch of revs. And you got to keep this shark moving, otherwise she'll buck around just a little bit. You don't want to be going too slow in first gear. That's good. Loads of low end torque. You're going to hear a little bit of rattling. That rattling is just the T-grip down here on the shifter. So car dead on perfect. That maybe we just adjust. Now, I was told that these actually hooked up better than the Mustangs because of the longer wheelbase and I guess the suspension setup. So the Mercurys were like the sleeper fast boys off the line. Now, I am holding it in third because on diesel, this one will pop out of third. So don't yell at me for having my hand on the shifter. It's to keep it in gear. Oh, thank God. The longer wheelbase than the Mustang made me a little nervous over that speed hump. We do not want to beach the Cougar. Oh my goodness. We've got AC. We've got great controls over here. Honestly, this is kind of luxurious beyond what I thought it was going to be. Just like that F100 we drove the other day with that 3 on the tree and that 292, it had so much low end torque. This thing can just sit in top gear at pretty low speeds, and you're not taxing or lugging this engine whatsoever. I can already hear the comments, you need alignment. Yeah, the steering wheel's a little off. It is what it is. Car track straight. Easy fix. Suspension is ultra luxurious. Just soaks up everything in the road. But at the expense, actually, not that much body roll. Like, it's oddly very stable. Turning radius of a yacht. Actually, it's not that bad. It's just a mighty large car. Sorry to scare your dog. but this is one big cat. This is a blast to drive. It's pretty quick. I mean, you can see why people just wrecked cars. I mean, we're probably on a much more modern tire than they would have had in 1968, but you drive cars like this and you just get the idea that people without car control, people with just a bit of money and a lust for speed, of course they crash these cars in theatrical, crazy ways. And there's not a whole lot of safety here. You've got to be pretty aware of your own mortality when you drive old cars these days. There it goes, popping out a third. It's okay, we were ready for it. And we knew the Hyundai wasn't gonna yield at all. So comfortable over the bumps. So while we're cruising through this short section, out over the hood, I've got this great black hood scoop, and there's never a second that I'm not fully aware that I'm driving something cool or that I'm in a Cougar. Style-wise, I kind of prefer this to the Mustang. I think the longer wheelbase suits it. I think the rollaway headlights are beautiful, and the stylistic pieces on this car, everything on this car just looks like jewelry. And it's funny because it's the Midler car. It can't outpace the opulence of a T-Bird, but it's got to be more luxurious than the Mustang. I mean, this is where you're starting to see segments hit marks to hit every single type of person in America. The clutch is heavy, but not excessively. It's more like an authoritative weight. Like, you're very aware, you've got to make sure you put a little bit of oomph into it, but it's not restrictive. In bumper-to-bumper traffic, I might change my mind about that, but you feel something. And it's always interesting when you feel what's the weight of different things. Like, the steering is ultra light, the shifter kind of medium weight, but that clutch is the heaviest part of the interaction in the car. And the throttle, definitely a big, chunky throttle spring. Not the heaviest I've felt, but you've got to put your foot in it, and you're definitely making a choice when you do. Absolutely love this shifter. It reminds me of a Cobra too, the way it's leaning. That lean gives me that idea like I'm in a 427 Cobra. Must have a shorter rear end, because fourth gear, 70 miles an hour, we're turning 3,200 RPM. Good car. Great car. The best thing about these old American cars is their eagerness to go forward in a straight line as hard and as fast as you can throw it. Now, I could grip and rip this even harder than I am, and it would take it, and it would be happy. I'm being respectful. This is a phenomenal example, and we want to be protective and selective about how we drive things like this. Good they trimmed this. It's very difficult to see around in low cars. Oh, in a world of Subaru Crosstreks, we are driving a 68 Cougar, the 428. Yes. Oh, I could not be happier. Gear selection is such a choice. I mean, it feels like once you're rolling, you can just do everything in fourth. Before we close out, I'll end with this. When I was born, my mom drove a Cougar. My dad drove a Rabbit. So the two cars sitting next to each other. And it wasn't a first-gen Cougar. It was one of those big Cougars from the 70s or 80s or whatever the heck it was. And I asked my parents, what was I driven home in the hospital in? And I asked my parents, what was I driven home in the hospital in? They don't remember. Isn't that a bummer? But for the purposes of this video, let's say it was the Cougar and not the first-gen Rabbit. So I have a little bit of a Cougar connection. Now, I might be risking... Now, it might be risky for me to ask you to comment your Cougar stories below because God knows you're going to put some raunchy things in there. But if you do have life experience with a Cougar, your family member had one, or maybe just a longtime Mercury lover, because this is a dead brand. Mercury is extinct. It's a bummer. It's cool. But here we are. And now, not only are we driving an extinct car, but an extinct brand. So I'm gonna go conclude this drive, putting around in 4th gear, enjoying the torque of this 428 and the craftsmanship and effort and money that went in to creating this particular example. This is fantastic. I love a restoration that stays true to the authenticity of the car, however, upgraded it to the maximum level. Thank you guys so much for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to respect the drive, and I'll see you in the next one.